It's a beautiful gift from God meant to bring a husband and wife closer together. In the Bible, 1 Corinthians 7:35 emphasizes the importance of mutual consent and fulfilling each other's needs. It's clear that intimacy plays a crucial role
Okay,
in a healthy
just
and godly marriage.
one thing for
Now, why is
this
regular sex so
opportunity, and
important? For one,
we
it deepens
think that
emotional
is
bonds.
very
When
important.
couples share
Uh, we having some issue with this whole internet today, especially with the different sites, and we want to apologize for that. Just to have you for the next 30 minutes. We actually today is a kind of healthy time, and this is very very much unexpected. So I want really really go into it, and let's get it done, and let's see what's going on right here. Um, Matter of fact, we were talking about Christian family marriage and uh, intimacy, Christian family marriage and sex. When you look at the center of what the Bible speaks about from Genesis, it said, "Let us make man," and me and female. I mean, probably when we talk about this, the Christian doctrine, the fact that Christianity is relationship, and looking at the relationship we have and looking at the things that matters, whatever relationship we have with our couples or with friends, that relationship should not just be balanced, but that relationship must be on Christ, must center on Christ, not just on, the person. So if that relationship is not centered on Christ and it's just based on your feelings or probably the way you think, then of course we might have a little problem. Okay, so I think it's all about how we can drive more than talking about sex, family, and then relationship. So today we delve into how we speak when it comes to relationship wise. What are some of the factors? What are some of the causes that relationship actually building up from the Christian perspective is not being maintained? So when we talk about the church last week building families, we emphasize on some of the factors, some of the negative factors that contribute to marriages not being maintained or churches not really building up family or marriages. We talk about some are leaders intruding into marriage homes and are causing division among the husband and wife. So those are factors that contribute to different marriages, different factors, different things happens in our lifetime. But I want to also have some little retrospect on building up a Christian home. And building up a Christian home will means a lot to do. We talk about how do we build a Christian home, but we ourselves don't have the Christian ethic. We don't believe in the code of ethic, and probably we might not go to church, but we just decide to follow our wife and go to worship. It's not healthy, because in building a Christian home, the father and the mother, both of them must be Christians. You can't build a Christian home when one is a Christian, one is a Hindu or some kind of thing. Very difficult. You want to be building a mixed home. That means one person believe in X, Y, Z, the other person believe in the next thing, right? So it's not going to be a healthy family. So in order to build a Christian home, depends on the father and the mother. Both parents must be Christians. Now, you can build a Christian home with a different mix, probably a food, a different ideology. It's not going to be healthy. I think what affecting the church today, what affecting our marriage, families today, come from the mixed kind of food and mixed religion, mixed principles. How people believe in the next thing, and the next day they believe in the next thing. Well, you might come from a different background, but you are decided to be a Christian. So your relationship with God has a lot to do with building up that family. Because remember that when you have a mixed relationship, let's agree that maybe I come from a mixed relationship and my wife comes from a mixed relationship. That means a big background and have not accepted Christ. So that person, let agree that don't know their responsibility as Christian. They're not going to follow the principles. They're not going to follow the principles. So in other words, to build a Christian home, to build a relationship with your wife, husband, it first has to do with the foundation. So what is the foundation? The foundation has to do with the beginning, the genesis of the marriage, of probably bringing up your family. So if the genesis is not actually, the beginning is not ready, firm in Christ, then there will be a crack in the wall, crack in in that leadership. Now, who are the leaders? The father and the mother. So so what happens is we saw yesterday. Okay, if you saw that, I don't want to discuss that one, but people who looking at the video, they see, you know, have children even when they are growing
If
up.
you're over 60 and live
And
independently, you need to watch this.
and
The number one fear of aging Americans is losing their independence, but thousands are getting this little.
and so every time, I'm very sorry, man, this interfering. Every time we come to understanding the presence of God, understanding the reason for which marriage is so honorable and that we must respect it, is a kind of um it's not just a society, is marriage itself is a foundation on which we build. And if marriage itself is a kind of relationship that we build up from the beginning to the end of our life. So as a society, as a separate foundation or home, government, it has its own rule, it has its own principles. So the way you start the marriage, the way you start bringing up the children, the way it is the beginning. Probably maybe you and your spouse you started forgiveness, you started doing some things together, probably before marriage. So that person will take advantage of that if they are not born again. Even born again women take advantage of some things that really is not in their family. The reason is because um, if not all of us, most of us don't realize that we are into marriage because we are in a covenant, an agreement, because of love, because of commitment. So that commitment should go to not be probably left in the middle, or probably in the time where you want to see this person, you can see them. You guys don't meet. You only meet once a month, once a year. And you know the communication gap is very wide. So when it comes to intimacy, which should be regular, is a gap. And if anything step in that gap, then of course it actually occupies the place for the next partner, and it become a gap. So once you start communicating in two ways, sex is communication. Is a very sensitive spiritual, physical communication that are bound you as a partner together. So as long you started to share that relationship, if you're not careful, it's going to start waving away a little bit from your wife or your husband, because the next person relationship or the next person communication in sex is it could be more probably I would say kind of touching than your husband or your wife. So because we don't meet regularly, also doesn't mean that marriage cannot be strong, but it also doesn't mean that we can cover it up. So the coming up should be, well, okay, I'm not going to, I think I got to wait at this time. I have to meet my husband, I have to meet my wife, we got to talk this thing, you know. But once you start to do it out there, once you start to have some intimacy out there, it gets, well, it gets a gap. You start having a little gap in your communication with your wife. If the person that you're having that intimacy with is most sensitive to your needs and know how to deal with you as a man, or the person as a woman know how to deal with you as, I mean, men know how to deal with you as a wife. So there will be a gap. There where now the enemy plays into the marriage. So in order to keep this bound, there must always be a kind of intimacy, a regular intimacy, the time, communication. Uh, Probably you have some feelings about what's going on. You got to express it and move on from there. But everything that has to do with keeping away from another partner, that's a danger. It's very dangerous. And so, as we talk about family, marriage, and intimacy, we do believe Christians have bound, right? Have a responsibility as, so building Christian marriage is very important. Let that be clear. Okay, focus on your spouse strength, encourage rather than criticize. Pray for your spouse, learn and live what Christ teaches about relating to the loving others, right? So look at the strength, look at the different tests. You got to do all that because it's going to affect the marriage in the future if you don't know the strength, the weakness, to start building it up from there. With experience, we think that is one of the things that actually broke destroy marriages, because the weakness could be temperament, right? And you downplay temperament because you think in your own mind that, well, okay, the person can get hot tempered. I think I can bear it, right? And at the end of the day, you start to overlook it from the beginning in public, and then it grows up in that person, and now they took it bigger than the place that you never expected it to go. So weakness, temperament, sex, kind of media. The eyes is so open. That person is promiscuous, and the man to see they like them, or the man is so open he likes to go around. Weakness. So you got to pray and be able to strengthen each other when it comes to that plate of weakness. So you now, beside the prayer, you have a design strategy in meeting that person need, so that the weakness will not just go away and continue to do things all of the marriage. Now, but listen to me. The point we have reached into our life when it comes to this time of our history, I'm talking about in regards to in our contemporary time, sex becoming just a like a game or something like a play some fun. So in order to maintain your marriage, okay, in Genesis, we talk about Genesis 1:28. God said, be fruitful and multiply, which is good. And First Corinthians 7:7 describe marriage as a spiritual gift. So, and then we have Genesis chapter 2, verse 18 to 24, the foundation, a passage in scripture, marriage. That is a foundation. So when you look at uh, the spiritual implication, that means it's a spiritual gift. So if it's a spiritual gift, then it can be both spiritual for the negative person, or for a person who just want to bring you down. It can be spiritual for you or your partner who want to see the marriage grow. So that should be one of the things that we should take very closely, is a spiritual gift. So this spiritual gift has to be compatible, and it has to be in line with the teaching, and the always in close connection with God. Because if it is a spiritual gift, it can be misinterpreted or misused, or probably we can say we can abuse that gift by overusing it the wrong way. So because it's a gift, Jesus, God gave that gift to you as a man. So treat it as a gift. And God gave that gift to you as a woman to give to your husband. Because every man that receives a gift, whether it is a physical gift, he feels so fine. So if that is a spiritual gift, that means it has a very big impact on the life of that person that you are having the intercourse with or trying to meet all the time. That is a very big implication. Go and ask with the experience of many guys, ask them, meeting frequently with a girl who probably they made love and looking at their own feelings, and they're not even care for their own wife again, because it's a spiritual gift that person is giving to their husband or to your husband. uh your husband is giving to the wife, especially the woman. So we're going to be talking about the attraction next week. But actually, when we talk about establishing trust within the physical part of a marriage, we base on the fact that not having confidence in the next person, because well, trust have been lost, because what happened, uh they don't respect the person, your husband again, because you lose trust in him. We're going to be talking more about that, because I see that many people will say, oh, you don't respect me, we the men, but the trust that the wife had in you originally, she had lose that trust. So disrespect come. Okay, and there's a problem. So in order for us to build up a Christian marriage, it should begin from the foundation, and how we teach the children. They say teach it to your children while you're sleeping, while you're walking, and all that. So if you in Deuteronomy chapter 6, if you want to be able to teach it to your children, and Ephesians chapter 6, then you'll be able to make them to grow, that they will not depart from it. Now, the community you live, it also has an impact. I agree. The people you talk to, your friends, also has an impact in bringing up your family. Those are all factors. But the benefactors, or the thing that benefit the family setting, when it comes to the place, the setting, it has to do with the way you respond to society. So let's agree that it's a community, right? The community is affected, probably too much sex, kind of interactions or relationship is going on in that community as compared to the next community. So I decided to live in this community because it's not far from the place I work. Let's agree. So how can we actually, what are some of the benefits we have because of the distance? Well, because of those things, we won't want to go follow. But what are some of the negative things that will happen if at all we are bringing on our family in that kind of community? We expect our children to not be the way we actually expect them to be, because they are piercing if we allow them with other children. Now let take for instance, some family will take their children out, right? Not to come closer to that community. Every time they come from school, they will have to go out there to work or to do something so that they can try to avoid. Now, let us look at the building aspect when it comes to the marriage. So when you look at those factors, your location, the church you go to, the mixed family of relationship, and the foundation of which the other person comes from. So those are strengths and weaknesses, but the weaknesses will come from your spouse, not the foundation. You may come from a good foundation as a Christian man or woman, but your character may be very bad. The next person might come from a bad foundation, but the character and the way of behaving to the husband may be nice than you, who might come from a good foundation. So it has to do with personality. So in working the relationship up, it has to do with the foundation. Yes, sometimes it's very difficult to make it to the top when I come from a different foundation and become a Christian, and then later on, probably you get married, and then that foundation, I as a Christian, I came to Christ, but still want to be messed up and mess my whole marriage up because of the foundation. So we agree that when bringing up families has to do with from the children level, how you bring up your children, how to talk to your husband, how your husband take them to be, even though you guys are not bring before children, and how you guys can understand to come up into this relationship. So there have to be the trust and love for each other. That love should be a very deep and emotional love. It shouldn't be based on money, whatever thing you think about. That is based on the fact that I know, I'm responsible for this. I know I'm responsible for that. So let agree that if I would come to understand that this is my wife, this is my husband, and then we are family, we are Christian family. We have to raise our children as Christians. That should not be an option, because um, let agree that we're building up a long-term family to take over, and our family grew up in a Christian home. Well, and maybe another person not grew up in a Christian home but became Christian, or maybe really are not, never did come to Christ, but it's so beautiful. So, uh, love each other and want to come together. Now, those are factors you look at. That would not be a full Christian home, right? Because that person have not accepted Christ, and even accepting Christ, but not even living for Christ. And their attribute, you can see them. They are still part of the world. But because you see them to be attractive, so you want to get in the light. So you should count that. That is a weakness, right? So you got to build that part up and make sure that you do everything to, not in your strength, ask God to deal with them before you get into the marriage. Because getting into the marriage and then now understanding that, oh, I never knew that you were XYZ. I never knew that you couldn't have sex. Where you couldn't do this in the bed. You are not romantic. And then when you get to know, now you're looking for a romantic person who will satisfy your desire. But then you are already in the marriage. So um as we close today, I have a little reservation. When you come to that, you got to ask God for your decision. You got to ask God to deal with you on that, because it has to do with agreement. It has to do with satisfying each other. But then looking at the fact that that person has been affected because they really don't look at the intimacy, and the intimacy play a very key role into relationship. The reason why many of our, if 80% of marriages broke as a result of intimacy, communication, but mainly intimacy. Why? Because of that is the bottom line. Because of the fact that if the person is not certified, they're going outside. And because it's a gift, so you take that gift outside, you are giving another man that gift that seems to be more desirable to him, and you meet with him intimately more than your husband. So what happened? Or more than your wife. You meet with a lady. So what happened is that connection is getting more glued in and loving than your wife. Probably you as a wife not giving your husband any time. There's no time to talk every day. You go to work, you work 24/7, and probably you find some kind of means to satisfy your desire somewhere. And you know, intimacy, which played a very key role into building a relationship, because I will tell you the truth, once the bed is not certified, once that part of the intimacy is not being certified, most of the time you guys will be having confusion in the midst of your children. Oh, you're not good. You're not. Sometimes you can look at Facebook, look at some of the inappropriate way people address each other and bring the matter on Facebook. So it goes not to a community. Imagine if you go to a community, we go, oh, well, one more, it go on Facebook. So there where many of the problem lies. We can't solve our problem in the bedroom, because, well, we can meet frequently. So one person is saying, well, you don't have a something to satisfy me, and I'm looking for someone who I can really feed the really when I on the bed. So what happens is that before you got into that relationship, you didn't test one another, and even though maybe you test each other and you found you were satisfied, or maybe you just wanted to get into it because you got your own plan, which is not going to build it, which is not healthy for any marriage. It is not. So, in order to build that union, in order to build that relationship, we as Christians, we as families, we must do it right in the house. We must do it right among ourselves. Because from the beginning of the discussion, before coming together, let it be known to the next person. Look, I love you, but um, this is a point. This is where I am in my pursuit. I am very tired about this situation. No communication between us. We're not meeting frequently. So I when I meet somebody else frequently, it's going to overpower your love. And that is the fact. The reason why many homes are broken, people don't realize and or realize but don't go down to the facts. Is because any marriage that does not feed itself, meet frequently, is very dangerous. Obviously, it's dangerous. Why? Because the next person who is feeding on your husband or on your wife might have more strength than you. And she likes that. So that is unfaithfulness, but that is the bottom line. I would not like that to happen to me, in as much as I might not have all the strength like the other young guys or whatever old man, but we have agreed to be together. We have agreed to be in our intimacy, certifying penetration in intimacy is not the only thing. If you really understand how to make love with your wife or your husband, you don't have to battle much more about too much penetration than just to have some time together. So there where the bounds are. Before we get into the marriage, we must be able to sort that out. Pre-marriage is very important to sort that out. I'm going to be on Instagram talking about that. And the point we stretch here is that in this time of our discussion is, look, marriage is sweet with the right person, very sweet, and I see no time to play game all the time, because I talk about the game we play but don't win, same. And I don't care what we do, like people fight each other, right? At the end of the day, all the thing you're fighting for is going right in the one little box, right? So what the essence of fighting? So, in other words, you as a person who is a Christian, you want to build all your relationship with God. You want to build all your relationship with your wife or your husband. That is the best way to build up the relationship. Intimacy, love, sex. That's the bottom line. So all we need to do is, look, I don't like meeting, discuss this issue, your weakness, and then the other person will give you the desire and say, oh, if that's your weakness, I want you to be strong in that area, because I always want to be with my spouse. That is my point. Besides that, that is what we need to do frequently. It builds the immune, it builds your system, it builds so sometimes it's a radio therapies. There are people that have lose their wife or husband or broken the relationship. Sometimes just by getting someone who will always be there for you can be the therapist. Many people today, I'm going to be discussing it on the Instagram page tomorrow evening. But uh, many people today are stuck on into marriages, forgetting the real issues of what making them to have walking like a sometimes, oh my boom and this and that. They have decided to agree with the enemy to say, well, okay, yeah, you can live in Japan, I live here. No problem with that. I love you. No, okay, talk on the phone. Let's have something on the phone. No, that's not. Look, man, meeting and holding the hands, and the fingers, man, everything play part in your therapy's relationship. There are people that I'm going to be talking about that probably tomorrow evening on Instagram. But there are people who have decided to play that part in their marriage and don't care about the reality that right in that situation where the person was actually being but mentally ill, or they have some defect in their marriage and they needed to take therapies. If you ask most of the women, if not all of us, who have lost husbands or probably marriage have been broken, one of the dominant things that causes us to have a stroke or need some therapies is because of our deep relationship we lose, uh, and we want to regain them. So I would tell you one of the best therapies is to get intimacy. Somebody that will always be there for you every day is one of the best therapists of medicine that we have, that I've noticed in my research. And I'm writing on a book on that. And I see that many of us, if not all of us, have come to the place that to downplay it because we have realized, maybe, or have not realized, that is one of the best therapies, medicine, that we are missing. So probably maybe that person is feeling husband sick or wife sick, or maybe by the time they get somebody who can really meet their emotional, spiritual, sexual, and these kind of means, I'm telling you, you're going to see them recovering, recovering, well, or even the medicine that people have been giving them because they want to get some down from them, and they stay dying in their pains. How many of us have not taken medicine? After you take the medicine, you go back, nobody in the bed, you're rolling all the time. So in order for us to grow, in this relationship, I am very much concerned about how can we build up that woman who is going through her problem and leave her alone. Well, because, go to therapy, man, you need to take some therapy, and you pay a lot of money taking the therapy. But if you are bothered with a person that love her very much, that therapist will be no need. Every day you guys intimately meeting, talking, discussing, it's not all about sex. Taking her away, going to spend some time somewhere, you will see that person recovering. The best medicine for therapists is one of that, intimacy. So no matter what that person look like, no matter what is going on in their life, and you see that, the person is down all the time, by the time you start to play your role, maybe you just met the person, and, okay, and this person start to love you as a man. Oh my God, not only penetration, that means not only sex, but intimacy, meeting every day, communication, or talking to you, holding your hand. When you look, man, you start recovering. There will be no need to go for major therapies again. That will be the best therapy for you. And so I want to encourage those of us who are in Christian marriage, who are probably whether in outside marriage, whatever marriage you're in, look at those areas where we are not building up our intimacy. Probably maybe you look at the lady, oh, she got money, or if somebody mess her up, so she down. She doesn't even communicate well because of the things she went through. She don't want to trust no other man, so she going through a mental illness. She tried to make herself free, but don't mind it. There's something playing on her mind. That thing that playing on her mind could be something she just needed a comfort, and when that comfort comes, take away all the other means of going for therapies. So again, I'm going to be talking about it on Tutor, and I'm going to be talking more about the actual intimacy when it comes to the real stuff, getting us together in order for us to be prepared to meet each other need physically and spiritually. This is not joke. This is reality. Enjoy your life, enjoy your marriage. Why did you go together to say it's better than for wife? Why were you abstain from your husband for many months or years? Because, well, the enemy have played on that. Know it very well. That is the bottom line. Any man, in my conclusion, any woman who abstain from her husband for just 1 year or 2 years, and that man having to get used to such a thing and connect to anyone, you can talk from now to judgment day. It will be difficult for that man to come back to you because that man is looking for peace of mind. And I will tell you, some of the peace of mind comes from right in the intimacy, the way you treat your husband, the way you treat your wife. And I want to say thank you for following. Please, I want to apologize for the kind of interference of this whole internet tonight. And I want to say you're welcome. Let's talk about this issue next week. I hope, I don't want to promise again to have a host, to have someone coming up. But I say to you, man, keep the marriage, keep the relationship going. Don't forget that God has placed you guys together for a reason, and enjoy it because it's for you. Okay? Don't